Have you heard about the bird?
Everybody knows
The bird is a word. Boom, 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 boom. Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the Doctor himself.
Hello.
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to, like...
Dab?
Yeah. Each week, we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you.
That was beautiful. What a virtuosic performance.
That's what I was going for. I appreciate it.
You're going for virtuosic?
Yeah. We got a review. We've been getting them on the Facebooks lately.
Go do the... oh, sorry.
No.
Keep it.
Gotta wait. We've been getting some reviews on Facebook, and I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
I like you. You. Some of you are double dipping. Some of you
we're getting reviews faster than like we say them in the episodes. We're actually like 4 reviews behind.
I know we've got more reviews.
Yeah,
which is a weird place to be.
I know. I feel like
you like us. You really, really like us.
It almost feels like what some might call success.
Yes. There's got to be something wrong with you. This can't be us.
Yeah, that's true.
We got a review from Crystal Putney with a 5-star review on Facebook. Almost said iTunes. It's not
very close.
It's Facebook.
You saved it.
Yeah, I did. Nailed it. She goes on to say, so my husband asked me to write a review for you guys. That sounds about right.
All of you need to start doing this.
Yeah. Mr. Putney and Crystal have set a precedent now that you must live up to.
That's right.
Your significant others, your family, your friends.
Yeah, your
people
boss.
You gun down on the street.
Yeah, before they expire. You let them use their dying breaths to write a 5-star review.
That's right. While I haven't listened to every episode, there's a lot you shouldn't, so that's great.
That's probably wise. Yeah.
Like at least 60 that you shouldn't. Whenever I have listened, I see why he loves it and laughs so much. The Doctor is very knowledgeable and has helped me learn a lot more. Okay, you're knowledgeable about this thing. He's helped me learn a lot more about my favorite DC character, John Constantine. We did a whole episode.
That's right, with Lucretia Lyon.
And we had a female guest who spoke to it, which is even better, yeah. A little female representation there for some of our female guests, which is wonderful to hear.
Yeah, we need to do better with that.
Yeah, well.
If I knew any,
they just keep running.
Jesus.
I absolutely love the drops you guys made up, and anytime my husband says he's looking at Twitter or even says Twitter, I always do the stutter Twitter drop. I'm not going to do it now because we have to wait. You gotta wait your turn.
It's how we stop people from just like coming in, getting the drops they want, then not listening.
Yeah, exactly. We know why you're here. The sweet drops. Yeah. We didn't go to school for 8 years for dropology. I find it really enjoyable to learn so much about something that I'm not a huge fan of. So you're also the Doctor's wife. And it is done in such an entertaining way. You you for bringing smiles to myself and my husband's face, and keep up the great work.
Oh, thank you.
And I hope that we can take a little time away from you having to deal with your husband, so he has to at least have his focus on something else.
Sure.
My wife would definitely appreciate me being away.
Well, yeah. I think Monday is her favorite. The day of week is her favorite day of the week.
I'm sorry. Yeah, nailing down the day is really gonna... time of day of week.
Remember when I pitched that we should put a calendar in the merch store that had no information on it? It
just says day of week.
Month of year. It's just completely blank.
Literally no one would get that. Even other fans who would see someone wearing that shirt wouldn't get that.
Year of century.
Yeah.
Just a completely blank calendar. We'd make a killing.
Oh yeah, who wouldn't want that?
It's reusable.
It would never be wrong. It's true. Well, speaking of relevant information, let's go to the news. Batwoman launches a new promo.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Ooh, neither have I. So let's watch it now on my new computer. This is the first video that will be played through.
Yeah, sign up for our Patreon.
It's please God. Just got a new computer. It started a new agency. Could really use the money. Oh, just sexy motorcycle times. I'm okay with that.
She's such a badass.
She is. It's really just being... They don't even need to try to sell you anything to do with Bat. It was just like, it's a symbol at the end. She's hot and cool.
And badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm into it. I'm
into it. I mean, the show had me sold anyway. I really liked her in the Elseworlds crossover. I thought she was a real highlight of that this past year.
Yeah, well, it brought like some edge to it.
Yeah. But like it felt like earned edge.
Yes.
Like every time the arrow goes edgy, I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah. Like we know you're not edgy.
For some reason, yeah. I think just because it's the actual bat mantle, I'm like, yeah, you get to be like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Next piece of news: Tessa Thompson, all known from her Thor fame and Men in Black fame, has been announced a role as Catwoman on Drunk History.
I saw these like images, and some people have sent it to me too because people know me very well. But yeah, it's Tessa Thompson as Eartha Kitt as Catwoman, and from an upcoming, or I don't know if it's aired already, but episode of Drunk History.
Good God,
and she looks just like Eartha Kitt
and gorgeous.
I mean, I needed selling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I already love Tessa Thompson so much, and this is the year of Tessa Thompson. Give her more things.
You know, I've said on the podcast before that if I had to have like a thing, it's Black Canary. Eartha Kitt Catwoman is way up there.
Yeah,
yeah. Even like including actual Eartha Kitt Catwoman, but definitely also Tessa Thompson.
Well, that's the thing, right?
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be like creepy gawky, but like, yeah, it's perfect.
I think my problem with Eartha Kitt is that I really know her more as like now old Eartha Kitt, and so it's like it's hard for me to be like you're attractive when I know that you're an old lady now.
I love her voice. It's got such like a unique quality to it. But yeah, Tessa Thompson looks great, like in the sort of 60s Catwoman outfit with like like the big like mask that kind of looks like silly Dame Edna glasses, but also looks like cat ears. Like, yeah.
I find
it's also just such like a great recreation of that costume. That's kind of the thing I like about Drunk History, right? It's like a cool recreation of other things.
That's a show that I've really started watching a lot more because it's been playing on Much Music, so we've been recording them.
It's pretty funny. Yeah.
It's a great show.
Do we know what the context of this one is? Is it about
I think it's about
Kitt?
Eartha Kitt. I think it's an Eartha Kitt thing.
Gotcha.
Would be my guess. But she was a badass, so I'm definitely into that. Tessa Thompson, she feels like the new Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, I mean, not that we want to always put people into like...
How do I know what they are if they're not in a box?
Yeah, if they're not like a person we already knew. But I think I know what you mean. Although, to be fair to Rosario Dawson, she was still doing it. She's in all of those Marvel TV shows, which up until this past year were not canceled. But she was in all of them, right? So, yeah. Yeah, that's true. She's definitely sort of in that same... I could see Tessa Thompson in like a Sin City. Or like, I mean, obviously she's great in Thor Ragnarok. I haven't seen Men in Black International, but I assume she's great in it.
Somehow attracted to the awful looking dude on Clerks 2. Is
she in Clerks 2?
Rosario Dawson? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant Tessa Thompson. I had switched Rosario back to Tessa Thompson.
Yeah. God, that's the only part of Clerks 2 that I hate so much.
Right.
Is I'm just like, there's literally no like I get it, Kevin Smith, that you ended up with a very unattractive woman, but like it's
that classic like American sitcom thing where it's like
the fat slutty dude.
Leah Remini is married to Kevin James.
Yeah,
like, good luck.
All the volcano aliens in the world aren't going to make that real.
Yeah. Just like, let humanity die.
All right. Next piece of news. Todd Phillips confirms Joker movie doesn't follow the comics.
What?
I'm so upset.
I'm never going to see this movie.
That ruins all the Star Trek.
Yeah, I mean, I think this shouldn't be a surprise. We knew this movie, first of all, was not like DCEU, was not like a continuity thing. It's sort of its own little Elseworldy kind of pocket movie.
If anything, it's inspired by
It's also
Joker.
a movie that already has given the Joker a name and a definitive origin.
So clearly
Doesn't have a Batman in it. Like, we already knew it was doing something different. And, we've already had Gotham. Batman 89 did something different. The Joker didn't kill the Waynes in the comics, but there's always something different. I don't think it's a surprise though from the teasers and stuff like that this movie was not heavily leaning on comic book material, except for I would have thought the Killing Joke, that idea of like a relatively normal guy, one bad day. Blah, 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 blah. We know how that one goes. Yes. I never thought this movie was going to be like Cripple Barbara Gordon, Batman, all that kind of stuff. But that little nugget, it does come from a comic book. But I think what Todd Phillips is trying to say is like, don't expect to see like an iconic moment, from your favorite book in this movie. Like, it's not there. We're taking little nuggets of ideas and doing something new. And I think that's fine. I'm excited for it. I still don't think it needs to exist. I haven't changed my mind about that, but they have won me over to being interested. Like I would have put that money towards making a movie for like literally any other character, just so someone else could have a movie. But I'm interested, and I'm going to see it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So his next piece of news, we don't typically talk about rumors, but this was one that was too fun to not talk about.
Okay.
Original Green Lantern was rumored to debut in Stargirl TV series.
Yes, I had heard that. They've already cast a couple of roles for that one. And yeah, I mean, I think we knew generally just from some of the stuff that had come out that like aspects of the sort of Justice Society would be present. We'll get into it in this episode, but exactly. Stargirl has ties to the Justice Society. I think we knew certain characters might show up or are more likely to show up. I think I think Our Man or Our Man's son, like Rick Tyler, I think might be in it, as well as Rex Tyler.
Won't you come?
It wouldn't surprise me if Atom Smasher, Al Rothstein was in there.
The rain.
Nice, nice. A bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if we get like a heavy hitter from the Justice Society. I mean, I think they would shy away from Jay Garrick because he's on the flat.
There's representation
we
there.
know how DC is about this stuff. But if we got like a big timer like Dr. Fate or Alan Scott Green Lantern or like
you gotta have
the Spectre or
you gotta have some sort of
something like that is
I think
pretty cool.
With the character like this, it would be great to have another hero that acts as a mentor that's not a family member.
Well, yes, because we've got Stripe already. We got Pat Dugan, who's her stepfather and adult sidekick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it would be neat to have that. And Alan Scott in particular is known sort of in the DC universe as this sort of elder statesman.
Exactly.
Of the hero community. That would be like a really iconic. Also, I just want to see them. I know it looks hokey in the comics, but I think they could pull off that costume looking pretty like dapper, like how war vets are dapper and things like that.
Totally. Last piece of news.
Sure.
As of the output of this episode, the release date, we are 1 week away from San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, holy shit. Are we really?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. That crept up.
I know. So we're getting a little bit of news. It looks like WB is going to have a huge presence this year.
Yeah, I mean, we already knew that sort of DC was kind of eschewing Hall H a little bit, but WB was sort of planning its own kind of big thing. They've got a big section sort of cordoned off and all
DC, like the DC universe is going to be apparently very present, which is interesting.
You mean like the platform?
Yes.
Yeah, well, possibly putting to bed some of those rumors that the whole thing's getting shut down.
Totally. And I think so. I mean, they've taken over a lot of the a lot of the time the surrounding hotels get attached and a lot of the passes and things like that. Like it's all being very branded WB.
Right.
Like they're putting a huge marketing budget into this year, which is interesting. I think also it helps that Marvel's kind of stepped away a little bit, but
yeah, I mean, fuck, like Marvel's had literally the last 11 years.
Well, I think what they're it looks like what
it
they
makes sense for them to have a bit of breathing space. I mean, I know Far From Home just came out, and like there's stuff in production. It's not like they've stopped making movies, but like there is still a conscious like breathing space, a gap, before they start their next generation of things.
I hope they continue to do this where they where one will take 1 year and the other one will take another year. Like I hope that's the kind of process they move forward.
I mean,
with.
as businesses that ebb and flow, it makes sense. I doubt they're going to call each other up and be like, "Would you put your thing up for a year so we can?"
Well, I just mean that maybe they've agreed to start doing that already.
I doubt it's anything so formal.
But it would be nice. It would be great that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. DC's marketing. On the DC specific end of what Warner Brothers is doing, DC has altered marketing strategy. Aquaman, Shazam, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman, 1984, Joker, limited marketing until very close to.
Yeah.
They shifted gears from let's market Batman v Superman for 2 whole years.
I mean, if you can
until it could only be a disappointment.
Unless you consider I Am Legend, and then it's
well, yes, yeah, that's right. But you know what I mean? They've changed gears there. So I'm a little bit curious about what we may get from those things at San Diego. I don't want to predict, a ton of trailers or anything like that. I mean, probably some new stuff for Joker because that's about to come out.
Yeah.
Maybe some footage, I would say, in teaser format for Wonder Woman or Birds of Prey.
I would hope so.
But I would be surprised if we got a full actual trailer for either.
Really?
I think so. Wonder Woman's not supposed to come out for another
next year,
almost 10 months.
Yeah. That's true.
Birds of Prey is not supposed to come out for a while. So maybe some footage, some test footage or something like that, or a little tease kind of thing. I'd be surprised if we got full trailers for those things yet. That seems unlikely. But Joker, I think we'll get something.
What else do you think we might be getting?
Maybe possibly some more casting or sort of story intuitions about things like the Batman. There's been some moves around the Flash movie again.
Oh yeah, I mean
talk of Ezra Miller staying on. That they got the screenwriter from Birds of Prey to Christina Hodson, I think, to take that one on. That there's a new director. The news with the Flash changes literally every 3 months. So who the fuck knows? But there's pieces moving. Maybe little bits and pieces of that. I doubt we'd get anything like a slate. Again, DC's kind of not, DC was doing a thing where they were like, we're going to make these 27 movies. And then none of them happened. So I think, there's some things we know about. We know there's going to be a Shazam sequel. We know there's going to be, I would even say the Trench movie is not something we know, but we are pretty sure.
Do you think that we might get
we know we're getting an Aquaman 2, but that's further down the line. We're not really going to get anything from that this time around.
What about some Black Adam footage?
I doubt footage because I don't think it started filming. But Black Adam is meant to be kind of getting underway. Finally, they cast him 6 years ago or some shit like that. Maybe just some news about it, but I don't think there's anything to show because I don't think they've done anything yet.
Do we expect any surprises at this point then?
The only surprises I think we might be getting really are casting announcements, if anything. We know these little bits and pieces that have leaked, for example, about Black Adam, that it probably includes Hawkman or something like that. If they were to be and here's your Hawkman, whatever.
Yeah.
Luke Evans or something they just bring someone that would be kind of neat. But I really don't think there's going to be something, at least not on the film end. I wonder if they would use Comic-Con as an opportunity to either dispel or confirm rumors about DC Universe. That is an area where I'm I wonder. And then also just Arrowverse. I wonder if, they haven't filmed, or maybe they're just starting to get into filming those seasons, but it's so early, they won't have anything from the crossover. But I wonder if we'll get any little bits and pieces of news or things, even if there's not footage. Exactly, those are the things where I would expect more than on the film end of it.
I hope that they
animation. They always announce what are the next animated things that we're going to do. I think we'll see stuff like that, but I'd be very surprised to get big film news.
I hope that they, after all the outpouring of fan feedback, that we get Swamp Thing's actually coming back. And
oh my God. I mean, I just finished episode 6. Like you could see,
really, is it that
you can
good?
see all the pieces they're moving into place.
I feel like
Madame Xanadu,
yeah.
Blue Devil, Swamp Thing, Phantom Stranger. Like there's like shit going down in this swamp. Like
wow,
Murray, Louisiana, stay the fuck out. Like
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I got to start watching.
It's a really great. I love it.
Where right now, like Titans, Swamp Thing. Like where?
Swamp Thing's been a slightly slower burn, but I really like it. It's
Doom
close,
Patrol.
It's closer
like
in tone to Titans. Doom Patrol was like funny I mean, it also wasn't funny sometimes, but it was more kind of fun-ish to watch.
So what's your your 3, 2, 1?
I think 3 is Doom Patrol, 2 is Swamp Thing, 1 is Titans.
Wow. Doom Patrol's better than... Wow.
Oh, so, well, no, it's 3. I've said that was 3.
You said Doom Patrol was 3.
Yeah, and then 2 is Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
And then Titans is 1.
So number 1, Titans.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so Doom Patrol is less good than Swamp Thing. It's crazy.
I know, but it's one of those things where it's like, you know, which of these 3 do you like the least? Chocolate, triple chocolate, or chocolate chunk? It's like, it's fucking chocolate. I love it all. I just ranking them, right? Like they're all good in their own ways, but I think that's where
I think chocolate's hot garbage, and I think triple chocolate's the only true answer.
Jesus,
I like that. Unless it's in 3s, I think it's the worst taste.
He's so superstitious.
You add 3 of it, and then
do you have like predictions or things you think is going to come out of San Diego?
I'd be very curious if we finally get something about a new video game. Because I mean, it's not really the place, but you
mean the long rumored Rocksteady?
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna happen, but that would be a thing that could blow my mind.
I can't imagine you skip E3, but then go to.
I don't think so either, but yeah. I think that's the thing that could blow my mind. Yeah, I think that we are at this point. I think their big reveal is going to be that. We're not canceling everything, and it's just like okay.
I think that would be the biggest bomb they could drop, was that everything you've heard about cancellation is untrue, or like only some of what you've heard of cancellation is untrue, or whatever. Just literally any information from the horse's mouth.
That's the thing, and if it's really just like a shifting of elements inside a new sort of home, there's a potential that you could get a release of a new show.
Maybe, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, and like weird, you know, there was that rumor that like Swamp Thing was like, they were like, oh, well, maybe we won't renew for a second season, but we'll make a movie with different actors. It's like, well, no, like don't do that.
It's not. That's not the answer at all.
You know, like
you know the thing you like. We're going to do something completely different, but it's still got the thing you like.
I would be curious to learn if any of those swirling rumors about a general, like a grander WB subscription service, which would obviously include like Wizarding World properties, would include like The Matrix, would include like these other things. Like I'd be a little interested if that is part of it, because that's like the sort of other shadow over all of this weird DC Universe crap.
WB,
is whether or not
I swear to God, if you release an app and you have like a Harry Potter TV show that's going to come out, I'll lose my goddamn mind.
It's all about how the Hufflepuffs experiment sexually. Thanks, J.K. Rowling.
They're all non-binary.
It's called Fuck Dorm, a Hufflepuff story. Be like, oh, your drink's empty. Expecto Patron.
Seeing you in that dress makes me Leviosa.
And Gorgio.
Oh my.
It's a bunch of douchebag bro Hufflepuffs.
Avada Kedavra.
Oh, you monster. Oh, that is an unforgivable curse. Absolutely unforgivable.
You don't like some Avada Kedavra? I don't understand.
Avada Kedavra. You fucking maniac.
All right. Time to go into this week's theme. Which this week we're talking Starman is in the comic books.
There's so many of them.
We like to ask you questions.
Other way around.
You do like to ask us questions, so now we'll take a look.
Very good.
And,
how long have you been working on that?
Just now.
Was it since last week when I said this was the theme?
Shut up. Just crumple, crumple, crumple. No.
Scrub the hard drive. Scrub the hard drive.
Like, what do you think I got to do a computer?
You can never know. Yeah, we're talking Starman, but the crazy thing is that there's not just like 1 or 2 characters that have been Starman. There's like 9,
really,
10.
Oh my god, this is a character.
There's like 9 or 10 different versions, some related, some not, that have been Starman. Some have different powers, some don't. Some are like some are from the Old West, some are from the 31st century, some are like there's Golden Age, Silver Age, like everything, aliens, humans. It completely covers all bases.
Do you know?
It's one of these weird things that has like a very, very long lineage, but like I think is relatively underknown or like underappreciated.
Do you want to know how much I know about Starman?
Let's have it.
This is how much I know about Starman. There's a Star Girl.
Yes,
that's how much I know about Starman.
Sure, I mean, and she's part of this.
And that David Bowie was a big fan.
Well, we'll get into it, but one of the Starmen is heavily inspired by the song.
I would assume. Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those like heroic legacies that's not necessarily that it's been like linearly passed from one to the next. There are some characters that have that. There's some that don't. Eventually, a bunch of them meet anyway. Like it's a very like weird, convoluted kind of mantle. And there's lots of comics with people who are star men, star girls, star boys.
Yes.
But it's very splintered. It's not like a Batman or a super, whomever, or a Wonder, whomever, you know what I mean? Like or even Green Lanterns where there's lots of them. There's a very sort of easy-ish to follow lineage there. Starman is kind of all over the map. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about a bunch of them.
I'm definitely interested because I literally know so little.
To illuminate these star people.
Is that
like stars are bright? Like
I thought you were doing a Harry Potter.
No, it's like an illumination. Like a star has a
Expecto Patronum.
Lumos.
Maximus. Let's get over to Facebook.
Going to the face and the book. Going to the Facebook.
Yeah. First question comes from our old friend Chicken Maddie.
It's so much more obnoxious now.
Matthew Poulter asks, my legitimate, honest question, ... Who?
Wow.
Who?
Fair enough.
Who?
Why don't I do a little bit of a speed round?
Yes.
Through the Starman. Oh God! Oh, it's timed. Ted Knight, the original Starman, Golden Age superhero, member of the Justice Society, alongside Jay Garrick.
Ted Knight, I know that name.
Yeah, different. Jay Garrick, Alan Scott. He's in with that group.
Yep.
He invents a device first called the gravity rod, then called the cosmic rod, and basically it absorbs energy, like stellar energy, and converts it. He can use it to fly, manipulate gravity, energy projection, those sorts of devices, and eventually fashions it into sort of different forms. But he has this rod, basically.
Yeah, I bet he does. Cosmic rod.
I'm going to do this a bit out of order, but then his son, David Knight, when he retires, David Knight becomes Starman. He's promptly shot through the heart and killed.
And he's to blame?
Yeah. Well, because he gave Love a bad name.
It's understandable.
Yeah. Then his reluctant brother, Jack Knight, the other son of Ted Knight.
Just such a stupid name.
Jack Knight became a sort of reluctant version of Starman that didn't wear a hero costume. He just had these kind of cool steampunk
Is that
glasses.
Because he was going down the road and then suddenly turned left and his whole body flipped over?
No, that's a jackknife.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
yeah, but he had just this cool leather jacket, but he had a version of that device called the Cosmic Staff. So instead of it just being a handheld thing, it was a sort of big staff. But same sort of idea. He could manipulate gravity. He could fly. He could, energy projection. Some minor kind of construct-y kind of stuff with light.
A little Green Lantern-y?
Very limited.
Is there like some lantern-y attachment there? No,
ish, but like not like he couldn't make complex things, but he could make like a platform a bunch of people could float on or something like that. Like
he was like the special class in the Green Lanterns.
No. Jack Knight eventually retires and passes the staff off to Star Girl, Courtney Whitmore, who's a young teenager who inherits that staff. She also inherits a different heroic legacy from the Star Spangled Kid, so she's kind of two of them coming together, but ultimately she is the bearer of the modern version of the technology created by Ted Knight in the Golden Age. So that's sort of that lineage. Other Starmen, Michael Thomas, who is like a blue alien from this other planet. That's kind of like he's like sent to Earth basically to like invade and conquer, but he sort of ends up like doing drugs and fucking, and like he's kind of like, oh, I kind of like it here. This is the one that's kind of based on Bowie Starman. But he's got this sort of like sonic gem that's, I think for a bit it was a necklace, then it was like embedded in his chest, so he has some different powers and things like that. There's a different one called William Payton, who is a hero. He's human, and he is struck by like a beam of energy from a satellite and gains basically like stellar powers.
That's vague. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, like, there's a couple of different versions, but essentially, like, it's like literal like energy, like energy projection. He could heat things up. He could it's flight, some sort of strength and durability changes, but basically like he had the power of a sun was like the idea kind of thing. Very vague,
yes,
but mostly just vague sort of energy projection stuff. The next one is his name is Prince Gavin. This is an alien one, and basically it's he's from a place called Throne World, and
he is a prince.
Yeah, and he's basically like the protector of Throne World. This was like an alien set version of Starman. There's very convoluted stuff about Crisis on Infinite Earths. Throne World was destroyed, and he was destroyed, but then his essence ended up being the thing that made Will Payton Starman.
Oh, okay.
So then Will Payton was actually both Prince Gavin and Will Payton. There's some weird shit in there.
Yeah.
There's a version, Legion of Superheroes in the 31st century. Tom Kalor is Star Boy. He is from he's from a planet called Xanthu. And basically
Xanthu.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
He has the ability to temporarily take mass from another object and add it to something else. So he can make things incredibly heavy. Like basically he is up to like the weight of a sun. He's called Starboy because he can basically like increase the mass of things until they're like sun heavy.
Sounds like my wife with all her baking lately, making me heavy like a sun.
Yeah, it's just like that. And then there's a version that showed up only a couple of times in like a Jonah Hex comic. Can't remember his name. It's like Sono or something like that. But he also called himself Starman.
But also had access to Siri and Amazon Alexa.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, essentially, those are the Star folk. There's a lot of them.
Wow. Yeah. Jesus. That's a lot of characters.
Sorry. I didn't even think of it. DC 1 million. In the 853rd century, there's a character called Ferris Knight, who is the ultimate like inheritor of the Knight legacy, Knight family legacy, who is the Starman of the 853rd century. And he basically has a base around the planet Uranus and has a 853rd century hyper advanced version of the cosmic staff, essentially called it's called like the Kfar or so. It's like QU. It's got some sort of future name, but that's another one.
Bueller.
There are so many Starfolk.
Wow. All right, let's go to the next question. Comes from my favorite time remnant of them all. Richard Waltness. That's too scary. Don't do that.
What, the shaky hand?
Yeah, it's too scary.
You don't like that?
No, it makes me scared.
Sure. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
It's okay,
Just don't
baby.
do it again. Oh, thanks.
Why is he trying to start that lawnmower? He's just doing yard work.
Snip, 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 snip.
With scissors. Oh, you back?
Sorry, that weed has been bothering me all day. Richard asks, any relation to the movie Starman from the 70s and 80s?
No. Although...
How does a movie from both 70s and the 80s? Or was it from one of them and he doesn't know?
It's from one.
Oh, okay.
I think it's actually from
Get your facts straight, Richard.
Jesus, so aggressive.
Which one?
It's from the 80s. I can't remember precisely who's in it, but it's about like a alien that like falls to Earth kind of thing.
Okay, so...
It's not, I mean, only in that an alien coming to Earth is a couple of the star folk, but it's not based on a comic. It's not like even a loose adaptation of a comic book thing. It's just like, what
a coincidence.
What do we call an alien that comes from the star? Starman. Oh, it's like that song I like.
All right, boys, that's lunch.
Yeah, that's pretty much where the similarities.
Oh, okay.
And other than the coincidental, right? Being an alien, having some sort of abilities, coming to Earth, digging Earth, thinking it's dope. Like that stuff, that's in comics.
Yeah.
That's basically the Michael Thomas thing. But like, they're not based on each other. They're not connected in any way other than that. I would hazard a guess that maybe the people writing the Starman movie were like, I really like that Bowie song. And the people writing the Michael Thomas Starman were like, I really like that Bowie song. And they just came up with two very different, similar but different things out of it.
For sure.
I think that would be the only real tangible connection between them.
So we've talked about all of these different Starmen. Even ones that may be tangentially related, but probably not.
Sure.
Next question comes from Stephen Marion Almagro, who asks, who's your favorite Starman amongst those who have donned the power?
Oh, shit. Oh, I mean, generally speaking, I think I really like Ted Knight. I like the original, the Golden Age.
Because he fucks.
No.
Like a jackknife.
Jesus Christ. No.
Yeah, it's 2 Beers Richard.
He doesn't fuck. Well, I mean...
He doesn't fuck.
Well, he fucks a lot.
You've heard it here, kids.
He's got 2 sons, but...
But he doesn't fuck.
Jesus.
Immaculate conception. I say no.
What the fuck is happening here? I think I enjoy Ted Knight's Starman because there's something I like about that sort of Golden Age aesthetic where he's just like a guy tinkering and he's like, vague science thing. I get some powers. I'm going to put on this like thing I sewed myself and I'm going to start fighting crime in Opal City. Like,
as you do,
it's like, the Jake Eric thing's like, oh, how did you get your speed? It's like, I inhaled hard water vapors. It's like, that's not related.
Yeah,
there's something kind of fun about like the Golden Age thing, like the sensibility.
Quaint.
And Ted Knight plays a big role in the 90s Starman series that focused on his second son, Jack. Ted is an old man there. He's been retired, but you get all these like insights, sort of retroactive insights into like his time as a hero and things like that. And it's that series where you really get to know him better than you would in anything that was coming out in the Golden Age. Golden Age were pretty much just like, oh, Starman saved the day again. Thank you, Starman. It was like, and that's basically it. Like, so, but there's something interesting about that character. I like the idea too that he's so ahead of his time that they're still using his technology like 90 years later.
Yeah.
Like for the same purpose, like he did it. There's something kind of neat about that, like sort of genius inventor and a guy who like upon his death basically like released his patents to the world and stuff, like all these things he invented. We talked about this in the Batman context. This is a guy who's like, no, like maybe I can actually finally do some good. And he actually just releases things he's invented. He's like, hopefully these will make life better.
Very Tesla, Elon Musk of him.
Well, Elon doesn't really release patents.
He did. He released the patent for the Tesla.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
So I just don't like Elon.
Why?
Because he's just a fucking megalomaniac. We got enough of those.
Yeah, but he does good things. He might be giving us internet, unlimited internet. You bow before the Musk.
Yeah, I don't know.
Internet.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to like say no to these great gifts, but at the same time, he's like an egomaniac I can't stand.
Just look at Gifted Horse in the mouth, won't you? All right.
I think Ted Knight would be my favorite. Although I've got to say, Will Payton has been a big part of the current Justice League arc, and Scott Snyder.
Sounds like a football player. Scott Snyder.
What, Will Payton?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a good old American kind of.
Yeah, Will Payton. I play quarterback for the Bills.
Are we just thinking, oh, man, Bills could use a quarterback.
I love that even just like this imaginary character who only just has a name that sounds like a football player, and you're just like, oh, please, just new blood. That's all we need.
We also need a quarterback if you know anybody.
And a coach.
But yeah, I mean, I've been digging what they've done with him, this sort of other kind of Starman. Yeah, but that's mostly from a relatively recent run of comics.
Oh, interesting. All right, let's leave Facebook.
Sorry, am I keeping you up?
Yeah, a little bit. And you listen up, Putneys. We're heading on over to Twitter.
Twitter.
Oh, you stumbled a little bit.
Fuck you.
You made the Putneys upset.
You do it next time.
I created it. I don't need to do it again.
No, prove it.
Shut up. I could do it, I just don't want
I'm picturing us like in a courtroom, like in a legal battle over who created this drop. It's like I dare you to do it. I fucking dare you to prove you did it.
The judge is like, I'm just gonna break the word apart, and then both of you can have a piece.
Yeah, it's antitrust. There's too many T's in there. You have all the T's.
And I'm like, don't break it apart. And he's like, that's why it's yours. All right, first question comes from James Paulson, Mr. Two First Names. That's the best I've come from with him so far.
We're going to keep workshopping, I think.
James Paul? What? Choose one. Or I also like maybe Paul's son, James.
Or maybe
I like
he's
that
James
one.
Paul, Senator. James Paulson.
Oh, yeah. No, I like Paul's son, James. That was good.
Or maybe he only goes in fits and starts, so he's James Paulson.
Oh, maybe he's a DJ James Paulson.
Son.
You really? Oh God, we've got to stop dabbing. We've never. At least I mean, at least I don't have kids. You've got a kid. It makes you so much more of a dad.
I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to embarrass them thoroughly.
Yeah, it's true. All right. James Paulson asks, what character used the powers the worst, and who was the most surprising to see take up the powers?
Right. Well, I mean, this might not shock anyone after I sort of did the roll call of the Starman, but the person who used the powers the worst is the person who used them the least. It's David Knight, who was like Starman for a bit and then shot through the heart and killed by like a gun.
Yeah.
He's like a superhero that can fly and has energy projection. He was just shot. And it wasn't like in a battle. He was just like flying and someone killed him.
Maybe
like he didn't even see it coming.
Maybe somebody thought that it would be a way to make something else happen, and
maybe there's a son who doesn't want to be a superhero, but his older brother takes up the mantle, and he can sort of shirk the responsibility. But maybe there's a stranger lurking in the night, and he takes out his older brother, and he can no longer deny his destiny.
Maybe there's a better way. A new way. In what some might say is the alley of the space. We call it crime space now.
Yeah, right. He was in, crime airspace when he was shot. It used to be called park airspace, but after a mysterious stranger took him to... Yeah, I mean, it's got to be David Knight, right? Like, he was barely Starman.
That's true.
He used the power the worst.
Yeah.
Most surprising, I mean, in continuity, a surprising one is Jack, who never wanted to be Starman, but takes it up because David is dead and he wants to find the killer and all this kind of stuff, right? I mean, that's technically surprising. I mean, it's tough to, like, as a reader, some of them aren't surprised. Like, it's a surprise to Will Payton that he's hit by energy from a satellite. It's not a surprise to us because we're reading a book that's like Starman and you're just watching it happen. Like,
you're like, where's the Starman?
You know he's going to be Starman.
Yeah.
It's not a surprise. It's not like Will
It's not
Payton.
Batman, and you're like, whoa, Starman!
And it's also not a surprise because it's not like Will Payton was just like a character in comics forever and then they were like, it's time. And then he did something with it. It was like, here's a new Starman. His name is Will Payton. And you go, okay. Like, so as a reader perspective, there's not really surprises if you want to talk about, subverting expectations, Jack Knight Starman does that because he's this very reluctant hero who sort of like shirks the trappings of superheroing. He doesn't wear a cape. He's not being flashy. He's not like at like public events like, thank you, thank you. He's just doing it because it's a responsibility, and he's kind of doing it against his will, at least for the first bit. Star Girl, I suppose, is
against his will, Peyton.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Star Girl is kind of a subversion of it because she's taking basically the mantles of these golden age heroes, these heroes that are like long before her time. She's a teenager and living up to them. And she's got a connection through her stepfather, who was the adult sidekick of the original Star Spangled Kid. So, I mean, like you can make the arguments for surprises, but generally speaking, none of them are surprise. Maybe the biggest surprise is the weird Prince Gavin and Will Payton are the same person because of Crisis thing. But beyond that, I don't think there's really like a shock. Yeah. It's just like you're reading it, you know who Starman is.
I guess that's true. Yeah. All right. Next question comes from Jake Murphy, who asks, Breck Basinger and Joel McHale have already been cast as Courtney Whitmore and Sylvester Pemberton in the upcoming Stargirl series.
Yeah.
Who would you cast as the other Starboys Men Spangled Kids?
If I'm not mistaken, too, the show is taking a few liberties. So I've already talked about how Stargirl sort of inherits two heroic legacies.
Yes.
I think the show is maybe simplifying that and making Sylvester Pemberton, instead of just... So in the comics, Sylvester Pemberton, the first Star Spangled Kid, has this thing called the Cosmic Converter Belt, which is technically a belt version of the same type of technology that powers the Cosmic Rod or the Cosmic Staff. So it's still connected to Starman, but separate. Courtney ends up with both the Cosmic Staff and the Cosmic Converter Belt, and sort of inherits then the Starman legacy and the Star Spangled Kid legacy.
Okay.
But I think what this show might be doing, if what I've seen is to be trusted, is they might just be making Sylvester Pemberton a former Starman.
Oh, okay.
Like just simplifying the name. Like he has this technology. That was him. So immediately by doing that, I suspect you're cutting out, like, let's say, like David and Jack Knight.
Yeah.
Or at least you're changing it. Like maybe Sylvester got it from Jack or Dave. Like you're altering sort of the genealogy of the hero a little bit. But because she has these connections to the Golden Age, and we've talked about the rumor about Alan Scott maybe being on the show, some ties to the Justice Society, I think it would be interesting to see some of those like core Justice Society members, or their younger versions, their like Infinity Inc. kind of inheritors show up in the show. So I'd be interested in seeing like a version of Damage.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe show up. Atom Smasher. I mean, we got an Atom Smasher on one episode of The Flash back in season 2, played by Edge.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be neat to see like a proper Al Rothstein. If you're bringing him in, I mean, you're not going to do this on the show because we know how DC is, but it would be natural, I think, to bring in Black Adam, who has like, there's stuff between them, you know? And in the comics, Courtney has like a romantic relationship with Billy. Like there's stuff like connective tissue.
Oh, wow.
It's not going to happen. No. You're not going to see it. But maybe something with the Hawks, maybe something with Green Lanterns. If Alan Scott is in there, then maybe we open the door to see Jade, his daughter. Maybe a version of Obsidian. We already saw an Obsidian in Legends of Tomorrow in that Justice Society, but maybe some version of that. We know Our Man is in there and things like that. Who would I want to see for those? I really honestly don't know. God. It's tough sometimes with these TV things because I'm as I grow older, I'm more and more like my dad, where I kind of just don't want to know them.
Oh yeah,
I just want like someone new. Like I don't necessarily need to know them, but then that makes questions like this not that fun because I'd be like, someone I don't know is like, next question. But like what's the great stuff about Titans? I mean, those actors have done other things, but I don't know them that well. And that's so they
I only
can just
really
hop in.
knew Brenton Thwaites. That was the only one
They can just hop in and just be those characters for me. Same thing in Swamp Thing. Even though like Derek Mears, who plays Swamp Thing, you would recognize him from other stuff. But the guy who plays Alec Holland, or the person playing Abby Arcane, they're relatively, they can sort of jump in and just be those characters. It's a little, you've got more recognizable actors for Jason Woodrue and for Avery Sunderland in that show. But it's still the same principle. And I think I would want that for Stargirl too. Mm-hmm. Joel McHale is a nice get, recognizable. He's bringing a certain quality to things. And as like a former Starman, I totally see that. I like throwing him in there. But then I don't want to. You don't want to overpower Stargirl's show with actors that you're like, oh, I love them. You know what I mean? Like you still want it to be her. So I think I would actually just not cast them with people I know. Really, generally.
Yeah. I could see that. That makes sense. I wish I knew any of these characters because I would have an opinion, but I don't.
Yeah. I think I'd be interested in seeing like someone older, like from the older generation, be a version of Dr. Midnight. Like the blind superhero that has like the blackout bombs. But he's not blind, but he has reverse vision. He can only see at night. He can't see in the light.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in like an older sort of character being Dr. Midnight. I don't know who I'd throw in there.
What's his name from 24?
What, Kiefer Sutherland?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in a weird way.
Right?
It'd be interesting. It would be an interesting test to see if Kiefer can play someone that isn't really known for just knifing people till they die. Or like, give me the code. You know what I mean? Like,
well, have you seen
give me the president.
Have you seen him in Dark City?
No.
That's my favorite movie of all time. That's
your favorite movie of all time?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is he good in that?
Amazing.
Okay.
He plays sort of like a very scared, sort of nervous scientist who's just like.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, somewhere in between there, I think is where Dr. Midnight sits.
Which is why I think he could nail it.
Who's confident in their own abilities, but is a physician.
Yeah, I feel like he would nail that.
Yeah, they can throw a punch, but that's not like why they're on the team, right? They're actually more as a doctor than anything.
Kiefer Sutherland would fucking nail that.
Okay, that'd be interesting. Let's throw that one in there. Yeah.
Hell yeah. See, I'm good at this. I want somebody new. Someone like you. Whoa, whoa. Someone new. Yeah. Next question comes from Jeff Whaley, who asks, Jeff Whaley, whoa, I'm big enough to fit in the room. Crazy. It's a whale.
Fetch my harpoon.
Easy, Moby.
Jeff Whaley's here for the harpoon tang.
Is he the one who sent that email?
That's right, I forgot.
Yeah. Jeff asks, is Jack Knight the only good example of a character that was able to retire from being a hero in mainstream comics?
He's one of very few. I'm sure as soon as I would say something like, yes, he's the only one, then people would give me good examples.
What about all those people on Doom Patrol?
Oh, yes. What a happy retirement they've had. Yeah. Oh, poor Mento. He was the fresh maker.
Mentos precious.
Mentos freshness.
Mentos precious for life. Mentos, the fresh maker.
Just him freaking out in the he thinks he's in the commercial. He's not.
Yeah.
Jack Knight is one of very few heroes to retire and stay retired and not get killed. He has a son with his arch nemesis, who is the daughter of his dad's arch nemesis. So his dad's arch nemesis is the Mist, and then the Mist's daughter goes by Nash.
The Fog.
Well, she calls herself the Mist, but her name's Nash. And then basically, she and Jack have a child together, and Jack raises Nash, and ultimately retires and gives the staff to Stargirl, who is already operating as Stargirl, but to this point only has the cosmic converter belt from the Star Spangled Kid. He gives her the staff, which is now her sort of iconic like implement. Like that's just who she is now. But yeah, Jack Knight just basically retires and raises his kid, and he doesn't die. It doesn't drive her to be a better hero or anything like that. It's just he gets a life. You're right. It's a very, very uncommon thing to happen in comics. I won't say he's the only one, but he's probably, you're right, the best example. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like Ted Knight in that Starman series that focused on Jack, Ted Knight has retired.
Yeah.
He's retired, but he keeps having to show up or like make a gadget or like, you know, like, and ultimately in Starman 72, he gives his life to save the day. He's pulled back in for one last job.
Every time I get out, they pull me back in.
It's family.
Yeah. Sorry, this is Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
It's family.
Family. Problem with the street fight is the street always wins.
It's you and me, Dom.
I don't have friends. I
have
have family. But, you know, it's that classic thing, right? So even if that book was positioning Ted as like, you're retired, you're out, he's not really, you know, and he ultimately gives us like, he becomes a hero again. It's his last act of Starman is basically saving Opal City from a nuke. And he basically takes himself and his old arch enemy out. So, yeah, I mean, Jack is probably one of very few that just gets to retire and live a nice life. Of course, all of this is thrown out the window as soon as a writer is like, hey, we forgotten about Jack Knight. Why don't we kill him?
Yeah, or have him kill himself. Or...
Someone can do that, and then all of this that we've talked about just goes out the window because that's how canon works.
Yay, comics.
But to this point, yes.
All right, next question comes from Jesse Stewart. Oh, Jesse.
We can't reuse that.
I know, but we haven't had another Jesse on here, so. And the other Jesse got another name, so it's fine. I'm a little drunk, I'm going to be honest.
I can tell.
Yeah, you know, 2 beers richer, that's what you get.
I think you're at 3.
No, this isn't beer. This is just...
Oh, that was the cucumber water.
Yeah. Don't tell them how bougie I am.
Yeah, sign up for our Patreon.
I want all the cucumber waters. I want lemon waters, lime waters, cucumber waters.
Yeah, all things you can't make yourself.
Yeah, that's right. I need all these canned liquids. Jesse asks. It's okay, I can cut out the dead space. It's fine.
You're very drunk.
I am. I'm not very drunk.
What is this, Darkness?
Oh, God. Don't even bring up that. That's a dirty word of the rest of the year.
Yeah, let's do cucumber vodkas for Darkness this year.
Oh, that's just vodka.
Yeah, with cucumber.
Yeah, but it's so, like, that's so menial.
No, you don't understand.
Oh, okay.
We soak 24 cucumbers in vodka, and we each eat an entire vodka cucumber each episode.
That sounds terrible. Vote for it on the new poll.
Yeah. Hashtag, how much can you take?
Oh, God, don't follow that hashtag.
Oh, fine. Sorry. No. I've got one. If you want us to do that, hashtag.
No, I got it. Hold on.
I got it. Incel cuke.
No. I was going to say, wow, mine was way cuter. Mine was hashtag Q encumbered.
Nice.
Yeah, but hashtag
incel cuke.
Jesus. Any of those, we don't read them. It's fine. Jesse asks, was there any connection between Will Payton and the Knight family legacy? Was there?
Jesus.
That's a goddamn question.
Not in terms of like being a family member or something like that. But, you know, that Starman series from the 90s went a very long time. It was a very sort of acclaimed series. Mm-hmm. And a bunch of these other Starmen made appearances or featured in the book. Michael Thomas was in there. Prince Gavin was in there. William Payton. Like, they're all in there. You see them even up to and including that issue I just talked about, Starman 72 or whatever it is, where Ted Knight ultimately dies. Will Payton is they sort of rolled these other Starmen in. They would encounter each other. They would go to a different place. Like, that was rolled into the story. But is there a familial connection? No. And in like the New 52 continuity, or not New 52, let's say Rebirth continuity, where we're still sussing out like which things have happened and which haven't.
Yeah.
You know, Stargirl has basically rarely, if at all, appeared. So we don't know, like, where has she inherited all of this from? And by the same token, we have Will Payton as a member of the Justice League. But that version of Starman, instead of it just having like stellar power, the thing that he's hit with, like the beam of energy he's hit with, comes from the totality. It comes from beyond the source wall. It's tied to all of these things that are happening with the Justice League. So he actually has like the power of the multiverse kind of coursing through him. That Will Payton and Stargirl have zero connection right now. So anything that was sort of set up in that pre-Flashpoint era is sort of unclear right now, like which bits happened, which didn't. You know, this Will Payton that we currently have was around since the 80s, but then Luthor abducted him and like with time travel and things like that. So there's room to expand it or have, you know, we know the Justice League is going to meet Golden Age counterparts. There's an opportunity in there to have a Ted Knight appearance and some sort of connection to Will Payton there. But I don't know yet. We're sort of waiting to see if there will be a connection, at least with that character. Yeah.
Cool. Next question comes from, it's so easy. Take it easy.
Slow ride, take it easy.
See, when we can't come up with a solid one, we just give you all of them, and you can decide which one you enjoy.
Oh, we'll just keep rotating.
Yeah. EC asks, if you could write a Justice League and Legion of Superheroes crossover involving a team up between Starboy and Stargirl, what would be the storyline?
Well, why don't you start?
I don't know any of these characters though.
Well, but you know some of the basics of their powers. Starboy is the one that can manipulate the mass of an object, and he's an alien.
Mm-hmm.
Looks human though.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some versions where he has either like amnesia, memory problems, or kind of like a like personality disorder kind of thing that he's managing.
Okay.
Stargirl is a teenager who is a very public superhero, very like known. Like if there was going to be a superhero that people were like following on social media, it would be Stargirl. That almost that type. So if you're trying to cross these two, like, do you have like an idea of like where do you think that those two characters might meet in the middle?
I feel like you need to do. I would want to get like a sort of like John Hughes, almost like like high school movie,
Sure,
where she's the popular girl with these abilities, but is having a hard time like staying relevant and is more concerned about her popularity than necessarily like fighting crime.
Sure, maybe a little Booster Gold kind of situation.
Totally. And then one day while she's attempting to solve a crime, but more focused on the social media aspect of it, and from the sky falls this character who can't remember who he is, and she slowly finds out that he has more abilities than her, and so she gets him to use these abilities and tries to claim it for her own so she can up her social media status.
She's like Cyrano de Bergerac.
Yes.
He's like in the bushes, like manipulating the mass.
Yeah. And that gives her a sort of a bump, but then she realizes that that's not what the value of her abilities are.
I mean, there's an interesting opportunity too, because, you know, Starboy, the Legion of Superheroes traditionally are younger characters anyway, that they would be sort of close in age. There's the opportunity too that like they take him in because her stepfather, Pat Dugan, is her sidekick.
That's right.
So like if they meet in the past, there's an opportunity there that like it becomes a sort of like, who's the new kid in town? Like, you know, like he's trying to find his way.
Another Eagles song.
You know, like they don't know anything about
kid in town.
They don't know anything about other planets or things like that because we're 1,000 years in the past from when Tom Kalor comes from. But there might be just something about like, you know, even though he's an alien, it's like, what are, you know, sort of human values and principles, things he could take back to the 31st century that are foundational to like the principles upheld by the Legion of Superheroes. Mm-hmm. I think you're right. I think there's like a fun opportunity in there if it's like a sort of almost kind of like a Spider-Man-y thing centered around what are some of like the struggles of being a teenager in addition to the struggles of being a superhero. Yeah. I think you're right.
Hell yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Look at that. I didn't even know these fucking characters.
I'm so proud of you.
Nailed it. All right. With that, the Dr. DC podcast will be back after this quick break.
This episode of the Dr. DC podcast is brought to you thanks to our sponsor, Great Lakes Grooming Company. They're one of our day ones. They're great friends and supporters, and they sent us some stuff, and it's amazing, and we love it. I mean, even when we're not talking about it, we're using it. We love it. Hey, Richard.
Yeah.
How do you get those lips so nice?
I suck a lot of...
No. Peppermint lime lip balm. I'm sorry. I'm holding. I didn't give you the script. It's peppermint lime lip balm. That's how you get those lips so nice. It's perfect for chapped, dry lips. Don't know how they got that way, but don't worry about it. Don't ask too many questions. The other thing that I know Richard uses for sure, I guess, yeah. In a different time, I could have used it, but it'd be the Noble Selves hairstyling cream. It's a medium light holding. It's got a soft feel. It's perfect for everyday use and casual styles. It doesn't look or feel, greasy or heavy at all. It's a really, really nice, easy to use water-based styler. It washes out easy with soap and warm water, and it makes your hair look dope as hell and makes me super jealous.
Hella dope.
Great Lakes Grooming is meant to be easy and ready to use rain or shine. All their products are purposefully designed and environmentally responsible. They're handmade in Canada, and they're ready for adventure wherever one may find themselves. And guess what, lucky listeners? You can get 10% off on Great Lakes Grooming's regular price products by going to www.greatlakesgrooming.com and using the promo code Dr. DC Podcast. That's greatlakesgrooming.com, promo code DRDC Podcast. And now, on to the show.
On to the show.
Great Lakes away.
And we're back!
Hey!
Oh!
Hip hop hooray!
Hip hop hooray!
Why?
I don't understand what your problem is. Explain.
No, I'm okay.
That's what I thought. We are leaving Twitter. It's so sad. But it's all right, because we're heading on over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
Wow, that was a little bit like, used a little jazzy. It was less jazzy this time. It was like, now we're going to Instagram. Like you were...
Yeah.
Oh. No, we're going to Instagram.
You really adopted an accent quickly there.
I can't help it.
That was nice.
It's my favorite thing to do. Right. On Instagram. So sexy. So Gil. It's the real Josh Gill. No, Gil.
Yeah, Gil.
Oh, sexy Gil.
What's Gil ask?
Whatever. I don't know.
Come on, man.
Oh, I get it. He asks.
Keep it together.
It's Josh. It's a part. I can't help it. I can't keep it together. It's all a part. Hard, but it's a part. Which version would the OG Starman, David Bowie, have been best suited to portray?
Well, I mean, like I said, the Michael Thomas, that alien that like comes to Earth to infiltrate, but then like enjoys fucking, like that one's technically the one based on Bowie.
We know about Jeff Knight, the one who fucks.
No, not Jeff Knight. Who's Jeff?
It's a cousin.
Yeah, I mean, he's sort of a sex and drugs, rock and roll kind of character, but he ends up like losing his memory, like so it doesn't go well for him. But I mean, technically, that is the one inspired by the Bowie song, not necessarily inspired by Bowie, but just the general concept of that piece of music. Who do I think Bowie would play the best? If he wasn't dead. I mean, I guess it's that one, but I think he could also maybe pull off the Prince Gavin. Like, ruler of like an alien sort of gladiator world kind of thing. I don't know. It makes me think of like him in Labyrinth. Like I think he could be like a Prince Gavin kind of thing. I could see that happening.
The power of the babe.
Not like stylistically.
Voodoo.
He wouldn't look like Labyrinth, like Bowie, but I think it's the same type of character. Like I could see him being a Prince Gavin. Actually, I think that would work.
I like that. That's
yeah.
Fun. All right.
That's a movie they better never remake.
Labyrinth?
Yeah.
Oh, Netflix is on that. Next question. If you've got an old Dodge Caravan with some TV screens in the back that won't work, you can adjust those. He'll turn them into a block of ice. That's right. It's Iceman Customs.
The Iceman Customs.
The Iceman cometh. No, the Iceman Customs.
That was the hydraulic.
That's them turning into blocks of ice.
Nice.
Yeah. You got that car on blocks of ice.
It's not even a pun. It's not even a pun.
Iceman Customs asks top villains for each Starman.
Ooh. Well, the Knight family, basically, Ted, David, Jack, their main villain is multiple generations of a villain that I already mentioned called the Mist. Who basically has the ability to become like gas form. The Mist a version of the Mist actually appeared on The Flash in the first season.
Oh,
he's that guy that's just sort of become like a toxic gas or whatever. That's a version of that character.
Wow.
They called him Kyle Nimbus or something, and that's basically meant to be like a version of, in the comics, that's the Mist's son who is killed by Jack, by Starman.
Mm-hmm.
But the original Mist, and then his son, Kyle, who's killed, and then his daughter, Nash, with whom Jack has a child, are basically all sort of like ongoing arch enemies of the Knight family, Starmen.
Mm-hmm.
And the ultimate battle between the originals ends in that Starman 72. If I'm getting this issue number wrong, I very much apologize, but it's in the 70s, where the Mist basically has like a nuke in a building in Opal City, like wired to his own vital signs, and he's like taking poison. He's like, in 5 minutes, the whole town goes fucking up. And Ted shows up wearing this massive harness and this massive version of like the cosmic staff, and he basically lifts the entire building with just him and the Mist on it up into space. And there's this sort of moment where they're both old men, and the Mist is like, I just wanted to beat you. And he's like, oh, come on, stand up, face the end like a man. And they like shake hands, and he says something like, I wish I could say it had been fun. And then they explode and die. And that's the end of that rivalry, basically.
Wow.
So that's the sort of main one for those Starmen. Tom Kalor, Starboy / Starman, as a member of the Legion of Superheroes, a lot of the villains are sort of team villains. They're ones that the Legion itself would face. So that includes like the Fatal Five, Mordru. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about like the Emerald Empress and Validus and Tharok and a bunch of those sort of Legion bad guys. Universo, like all those kind of ones would count. For Michael Thomas, he has initially a sort of, I mean, I don't know if you call it like an arch enemy, but there's another alien that came from his planet with the same mission who also was like, yeah, fucking's pretty good. Like also got distracted on Earth. Like Earth is like fucking Mos Eisley, and this like
that's hilarious.
Like, his name is like Comac or something like that, but they end up fighting because Comac is like, he got distracted from his mission, but he realizes he's dying, and he ultimately wants to like succeed in his mission. But Michael is like, no, like I dig Earth and it's worth saving. They end up fighting. I wouldn't call him an arch enemy, but that's sort of like a foundational adversary that sort of sets up who Michael is. Will Payton ended up fighting a bunch of sort of random heroes that I wouldn't say are his villains. Like Dr. Polaris is a Green Lantern villain, but he's fought him. He's fought Eclipso, who's more of, I mean, a general Justice League villain, a Spectre villain, even like an Amethyst villain after the New 52. He's fought a bunch of them. Prince Gavin on Throne World. He's fought the Thanagarians during the Ranthanagar War. Throne World was sort of like mixed up in that conflict. But again, not all of these have like, I would say like a specific like like Prince Gavin has to fight like the guy that takes the throne from him or whatever, and he has like Will Payton locked up when that whole weird thing was happening. Mm-hmm. It's not like the Joker and Batman. Like these things aren't like, oh my god, like every time these two meet, it's gonna be a fucking fight because they meet and one dies, or like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So they're kind of like important for their characters, but they're not what I would call like big arch enemies. You know, it's not like Reverse Flash or Lex Luthor or anything like that. Courtney Whitmore, as a member of the Justice Society, has fought some of their villains like Johnny Sorrow or Black Adam or things like that. In the New 52, she was on a Justice League with a Martian Manhunter, which meant that she sort of came up against Despero, at least during Forever Evil and things like that. The Secret Society of Supervillains. But again, not necessarily a ton of like, I am a Stargirl villain.
Yeah.
It's more like she's introduced to a world where there's already these rivalries, and then she sort of takes up some of that. So not all of them have sort of dedicated villains, I would say, but the big ones would be like the Night Starmen and the Mist. Definitely, that counts. That's a big one. That's like, yeah, Green Lantern and Sinestro or anything like that. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, let's leave Instagram and head on over to Reddit, where everything's nice.
No one's ever mean.
That's right. First question comes from Never Say Die, Iron Joker 33, who asks, which character pairs up with Starman the best? Who would you like to see take up the mantle?
Like pairs up, like works as a teammate?
Yeah, I would assume.
Or pairs up, like works with the mantle. Like who would be a new good Starman? Or is that just
that's two separate questions? But yes.
Okay, teammates. Well, in that 90s Starman series, when we get some of the flashbacks from the Golden Age, the characters that you really see in there include, but are not limited to, Jay Garrick, the Flash, Rex Tyler, Our Man, the original Dr. Midnight, Charles McNider, the Alan Scott, Green Lantern. But Starman is, and rightfully so, you can tell he's like, in that group of five, for example, he's like the fifth. You know, he's like, I don't want to say lesser, because that's certainly not how they view him, and that's not how that team works. But he is like not the heavy hitter. He's a smart guy. He contributes a lot, but he's not the main one, you know? So in that way, I actually think him and Dr. Midnight are kind of neat together. I would say a character to take up the mantle. The mantle that is really the most easily passed is the one with the staff. Right now, Stargirl is still very young. She's got lots of heroing left to do. But I would hope that in her travels, she, you know, especially because she's such a public hero, that there's someone with whom she would sort of trust her secret identity, with whom she would pass along her knowledge. It would be interesting if, not by becoming Stripe, but if she sort of paid it forward, basically, you know, in training a new hero, became like the quote unquote sidekick, was like, became the adult sidekick to a younger, newer star, someone. That would be kind of neat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for like years down the line. Courtney Whitmore's a relatively new character. That's a Jeff Johns creation. She's loosely based on his late sister.
Oh, wow.
So we're like quite a long time away from that, but you know, in like 30 years or something like that, I'd be interested in like a Stargirl comic that kind of goes that way, like a sort of passing of the torch.
Yeah, I like that.
And her, you know, maybe Pat Dugan is in a retirement home or something. He can't do it anymore, but she, you know, if she just keeps the belt, the Cosmic Converter belt, and then the new one has the staff or whatever, I'd like that dynamic. I think that'd be interesting. And I don't know that that's necessarily has to go to a character that exists right now. I think that can be someone new. kind of like the thing with the TV show and the casting. I sort of prefer that.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's a character in current DC that I'm like, do you know what they need? They need fucking Starman staff. Like, I don't see it that way, really. Yeah. Do you have anything you wanted to throw on?
Who would you like to take up the mantle?
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. Just someone new. But I think...
Someone like you.
Like Adele? Never mind, I'll find someone like you.
I was doing Kings of Leon, but yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. I wish nothing but the best for you too.
Starman!
Let's go to the last question.
Let's do it.
What's that? What's that weird specter doing? That goes cray. Ain't it, Jay? What's she order?
Fish fillet.
That's right. It's the Cray Ghost, who asks, since Jack's retirement, Courtney has been the legacy holder for Starman as well as the Star-Spangled Kid.
Yep.
Yet every time DC wants to do something with Starman, they bring a previous iteration out of retirement instead of focusing on Stargirl. Why is that? Have I missed any stories outside John's JSA where Courtney got to be part of that lineage?
Well, yeah, this is a fair point. So, like I mentioned, like this rebirth version of Will Payton, instead of it just being like stellar energy that hits this satellite and then hits him and gives him this power, it's connected to the totality, to this sort of multiversal threat from Perpetua that's part of this big Justice League story. And that makes a lot of sense. You know, we just need this energy to come at Earth and hit someone whose story matches that. It's easy to go like Will Payton. That's a version of Starman we can use. But what's to say that you couldn't just be that, like, instead of drawing on the regular stellar energy, that Stargirl's cosmic staff starts drawing on the totality.
Yeah.
Like, you could easily be like, and now Stargirl's in here. Not to say that, like, one choice is better than the other, but there is a bit of a thing where certainly in modern comics, I feel like she's a bit forgotten. Like, Jeff Johns obviously cared about her very much because there's a lot of emotions sort of in her creation there. But she's kind of, after that sort of JSA and like JSA All-Stars kind of run, she's sort of not been around too much. She was a big feature of Justice League United with Martian Manhunter and Supergirl and sort of that sort of secondary Justice League team. But since then, not very much. I think part of it too is that for creators, many of them are not even like older, but you know, a bit older. And Stargirl is such a new creation, and I think people look at me like, there are so many Starmen, like, wouldn't it be neat to take this one people forgot about, give them new life? Like, that's especially someone like Scott Snyder, who has this sort of Morrison kind of thing going on. It's all about taking these things people have forgotten, breathing new life into them, invigorating them again, giving them something new to do. And I think that maybe diverts attention away from Stargirl, even though she is like an active superhero. We don't know why are we pulling like these guys out from the 80s or whatever. We can use her. I think what I would hope is to see her more, I mean, in general, but, you know, if we get the Justice Society back after Doomsday Clock, you know, as Young Justice, as that series expands, I think there are multiple avenues to get Courtney Whitmore back into a main sort of position as like a contributing hero in the world. And I think I'm hopeful that in one of those two or both, that someone will seize that opportunity. I mean, Bendis has been doing a lot of really fun, interesting stuff on the Young Justice front. You know, we've got Ginny Hex and we've got Amethyst, Princess of Gemworld in there. Like, there's fun stuff happening on that team. Doomsday Clock, of course, has been crazy good, and Jeff Johns is writing it. So, you know, does it end with a Justice Society reformed and maybe Stargirl is among the line? Or, you know what I mean? Like, there are windows of opportunity there. I don't know what the plan is for her. I certainly hope there is one, but recently, like the last 3-4 or so years, there really has not been one. But the same thing could have been said about Shazam, too.
That's
Shazam
true, yeah.
was like very absent post Darkseid War. Not
And then suddenly we got a movie.
And then we got a movie, and now there's an ongoing series written by Johns. You know, we're about to get a Stargirl show. I'm not saying that immediately means she gets a solo series, but...
Puts her back in the zeitgeist, makes people want to buy books about her.
But let's not forget, DC is a business.
Yeah.
If that show is out and people are liking it, she will be in the comics.
Totally.
And even though there's not a ton of statistical correlation between new people coming to comics from those things, even if it's just fans watching the show and being like, oh yeah, her, let's read more of her again. Like it'll happen. She'll show up.
Yeah.
I just don't know what form that's going to take.
Totally. Yeah. I agree. All right. Well, that's it for the questions this week. Which you know what time of that means. It is.
I, of course, know what time.
Yeah. You didn't forget.
And
are now
I'm ready for
it
it entirely.
Yes, absolutely. Well, then you wouldn't mind going first, correct?
I could.
You could go first.
I could do that.
Yeah, you don't need to waste any time to be able to get to that point, right?
No, I could do it.
You could do it. All right. Yeah. Well, then you better go right now.
So, Dial H for Hero.
That's right.
Let's just a little bit of context, not to buy time for anyone.
No. Of course not. No, how would you? You couldn't talk and think at the same time.
No, definitely not. Dial H for Hero is a thing from sort of older comics, 60s and 70s, where basically at the time they readers would write in and be like, "This is my idea for a superhero," and they would find a way to like work them in, but it's at the grace of this sort of mystical H dial. You type in hero or evil, and it turns you for a limited time into a random hero or villain. So we try and come up with one every episode.
We sure try.
Yeah. So
sometimes
mine this episode is called Flip Switch.
Oh, okay.
Flip Switch, basically, they can channel the abilities of a particular alien race of the DC universe. But if they do a gnarly flip, they change what race's abilities they get. So let's say they're Kryptonian for a bit, and then someone breaks out kryptonite. Do a flip, which is tough when you're exposed to kryptonite. But do a flip, all of a sudden I'm Thanagarian. Now I can fly in your kryptonite.
Wow.
Or like, do a flip, now I'm a Durlin. I can shapeshift.
You're a Durlin.
So flip switch.
Just like a barrel, like do a barrel roll.
Exactly. Yeah. Flip switch basically can rotate through different races' inherent abilities by doing a gnarly flip.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so totally radical. It would have done great in the 90s.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you don't even want to know what happens if they do a gainer.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I like
it's a crisis. Crisis event. Reality's rewritten. If you do a Christ Air, then there's no more multiverse.
Yeah, it's just, you can just puts it all into one universe. Yeah. I like that. My character this week, his name is Video James. Do you know what the character's abilities are?
Well, no, but I can tell it's a pun on video games.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Did you not? Oh, so I don't know. You're a very good actor.
Their ability, his ability is that he can become any video game character that they can currently see.
Oh, okay, right. So yeah, right. If someone is in the room playing Halo, they could become like Master Chief.
Yes, but if they're like on a subway and someone's committing a crime, and the only thing that they can get access to is like
Angry Birds,
is like or like a gorilla dropping coins in like in one of those gem games, then that's who they get to turn into, and they have to be able to utilize those abilities for the temporary time that they have access to them.
Sure. So yeah, it puts like a radius and a limit on what they can become.
Yeah, exactly. So
now, do they become 3-dimensional versions of them, or do they become whatever they are, either 3D or 2D?
Or whatever they are. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. They could become Gooigi.
That's true. They could. If someone was playing Switch at the time, yeah.
Yeah. Gooigi.
You just like Gooigi. Everybody likes Gooigi. It's gross and fun.
Yeah, I'm going to go Gooigi. We'll play that game.
Luigi, the most beta of all the males.
Hashtag incel-cuke.
Literally just his whole thing is that he like follows his like friend around.
His brother.
Is it his brother? Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the movie made that canon.
Oh, okay.
And to his great shame, Mario's name is Mario, and his name is Luigi Mario.
Yeah. And he literally just follows his brother around so his brother can save the day, and the only thing he gets out of it is a handshake.
And he only got to do something cool and unique once. he could jump higher in Super Mario 2.
Yeah.
But that whole game was a dream, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't Mario dreaming it? So it's like...
Because it wasn't canon, because it was actually like Mario something or else from Japan.
Right.
They just like... Or it was like a different game that they just attached Mario to.
Right.
Yeah. So that's it. We had Video James and Flip Switch for this. I don't know how you could possibly top it, but please.
I'm impressed that we keep doing it.
How many times have we done it?
We have done this for like 60 episodes now.
We've come up with 120 different characters.
There are so many. This is why I want to make a book.
That no one will read.
Yeah, well, just for posterity.
Yeah, just for us, man.
Yeah.
Whoa, one day, son, you'll read this book and you'll see how I came up with, like, Diarrhea Man.
You'll see, he was...
He was a man and had diarrhea. I didn't feel well that day, and...
He had red meat and chugged 4 gallons of coffee.
Grandpa didn't feel well that day, and that's what we got, Diarrhea Man. But we would love to hear what type of characters that you guys can come up with.
Absolutely.
So send us a message using the hashtag DialDoc and give us your ideas for a hero or a villain.
Yeah, please do.
You can also send us a question for next week's episode.
Yeah, next week's episode... Our equipment has not come in yet.
It's
correct?
so close. It's any day between today or tomorrow and the end of the month.
Okay, well, let's postpone it. Next week's episode then is going to be all about words of power. People that have to speak something out loud.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Either gain access to or get a new ability. So words of power. There's a whole bunch of characters.
Is there really
that sort of fall into that? But anyone that has to speak something to access their ability.
I can only think of Come Man, who goes, "I'm coming."
Come man. Don't waste a good dial H.
I know. What am I doing? Yes. So send us your question for words of power, or you can just talk to us online. We appreciate the conversation. Do that through our various platforms on social media, such as our Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast,
our Twitter
at Dr. DC.
Our Twitter. Yeah, that's how it's fucking done.
That was amazing.
That's why I'm still the fucking master.
I'll never doubt you again.
Instagram,
Dr. DC Podcast.
Email,
drdcpodcast@gmail.com.
Of course, our subreddit,
r/Dr_DC.
And of course, you know that the doc phone is open. All you have to do is give us a call at
208-917-3238.
That's 208-917-DCEU. The doc phone, of course, is open. We will read your voice mail.
We will read your voice
Yes, I will listen to it, write it down,
transcribe
and then,
it, and then I will read it.
Because that's totally a thing that should happen. These fucking two of these, apparently.
You're so hammered.
I'm pretty drunk. Also, of course, not only can you talk to us online, but you can also read our DC specific articles or buy our many wares.
Buy our merch.
Yes, on our website.
drdcpodcast.com or .ca.
The Kajita's many wares.
And don't forget, if you like what we do, if you want more of it, you want a whole bonus episode every week, you can sign up.
But too bad.
Well, it doesn't exist. You can sign up for our Patreon. It's patreon.com/DrDC. It's only $5 a month. You get a full bonus episode every week. The one that we have this week is a very, very special one.
Oh man, I can't believe we finally got to do this.
We've been getting more and more subscribers, so thank you if you've signed up. There's lots of cool back episodes. We don't always talk about DC, but we do talk about lots of geek stuff.
We're working towards a benchmark.
That's right. I think we're only maybe 5 subscribers away.
I think
now.
so.
If we get to our next subscriber level, we're only 5 away. We are going to release
a new
subscription tier with even more stuff.
That's right.
Because we don't spend enough time away from our families.
God, those people
become the only family we need.
Yes. The ones that they're spoken to and not heard.
But if you're if you want more of us each week, our double dose episodes come out on Friday. It's only $5 a month.
That's right. And of course, leave us those sweet reviews.
Yeah. We're still catching up. If you've left a review, we will get to it. We'll read it on air.
That's right.
But, leave them on Facebook. Leave them on Podbean. I know there's one on there.
Oh, that's
now.
right. Yes.
Leave them on iTunes.
iTunes, of course.
Tattoo them on your forehead. Rent a billboard downtown in your town and take a picture.
Take a permanent marker and write it on your drunk friend's face while you're partying.
Yeah, exactly. Etch it into the bottom of a beer glass so that someone sees it when they finish their drink.
Erase your mother's signature on her credit card and write it over top of it.
Yeah. Yeah, legally change your name to a 5-star review of our podcast.
Okay, you really need to do that. That's really, really good. Replace the stop signs with stop and listen to the Dr. DC podcast.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, tear down traffic signs and replace them with 5-star reviews of our podcast.
Yeah.
When we get to 52 reviews and we're like motoring towards it, Richard and I will both get DC Comics tattoos.
That's right. Oh shit, I forgot about that.
That's right.
Oh god. Yeah.
You don't get to pick them. We're not fucking nuts. I don't want a Bodie McBoatface thing on my body, but like,
go to the grade school. Wear a T-shirt on the front. It says, "I want access to kids." On the back, it says to tell them to listen to the Dr. DZ podcast.
Jesus, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, do it. I'm not going to be a witness, though.
Oh, do you have like an old ham radio? Like side on to some sort of trucker's CB radio and dictate a 5-star review of our podcast.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Breaker 19. This is Big Bats.
Oh, DC fans, side on.
Yeah.
Roger.
Call Kids Help Phone.
No.
Tell them.
No.
Say, I've got a problem. You're not listening to Dr. DC.
Jesus, that's fucking dark. That is pitch black.
If this wasn't enough, of course, in 2 days you'll have another episode if you subscribe. So subscribe now. If not, we'll talk to you next week. Ciao.
Adios. Heroes, they always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure, they are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.
Call Kids Help.